Tonight, a look at the Fulton County Courthouse, where former President Donald Trump and 18 others were indicted last night on multiple charges related to the 2020 election.
We have team coverage ahead, and we want to get you involved. Scan the QR code on your screen right now to vote in our interactive poll. We want to know if you agree with Trump's indictment in Georgia.
Sinclair's chief political correspondent Scott Thuman explores how this case differs from the others and how Trump is arguing his innocence.
For Donald Trump, trying to play down his fourth indictment in 5 months, the playbook his usual go-to, paint the prosecution as political.
Meet the cast of unscrupulous accomplices he's assembled to get Trump.
Trump's team pointing to an apparently leaked version of the new indictment around noon on Monday, hours before the grand jury voted. Sounds rigged to me, Trump posted. A familiar defense, but different challenge. Prosecutors using racketeering statutes to allege a more organized effort by Trump to overturn his Georgia loss to Joe Biden. Famed defense attorney Alan Dershowitz.
You don't use RICO to go after people who contested an election. RICO was designed to go after the mob, maybe you go after corporate predators, but you don't go after people who honestly believe that the election was wrong and are doing everything in their power to make it right.
To date, this office has indicted, since I've been sitting as a district attorney, over 12,000 cases. This is the 11th RICO indictment. We followed the same process. We look at the facts, we look at the law, and we bring charges.
Fani Willis asserts Trump's team included a scheme to have a group of fake Georgia electors sign papers to falsely tell Congress that Trump won Georgia, not Biden. This case, and the 3 others, could not only test the legal system, but also Americans' faith in the process.
He's going to say, look, they're trying to keep me off the ballot. They're trying to prevent me from winning again the presidency. I've got confidence that we can provide a trial that will be fair and neutral and a result that the public can have confidence in.
The former U.S. attorney telling us it would be extremely unlikely that they could try all 4 cases before the election, perhaps 1 or 2, and that it would be almost impossible to have any appeals before voters go to the polls.
Scott Thuman joins us now, and Scott, both sides have kind of laid out their strategies. What are prosecutors saying?
Well, prosecutors are painting this as being different than what we have seen with the other indictments, that in many ways this is more complex, a little more serious in their eyes certainly, and they say it's especially because of those racketeering and conspiracy charges, where they really try to frame this as being a more organized, concerted effort by not only Donald Trump, but those other 18 defendants to show that they were conspiring, that they were working together in concert to try and overturn, or at least undo or pause or halt what was going on in Georgia, that it wouldn't confirm Joe Biden as the winner of that state, but instead Donald Trump.
How quickly do you think we'll see this or any of the cases move ahead and be heard?
Well, former U.S. attorney that I spoke with said that this is not going to happen very quickly at all. It would be almost unheard of to try and push 4 cases through before the election.
All right, Chief Political Correspondent Scott Thuman with us again tonight. Thanks, Scott, for your insight.
Anytime.
Joining us now is WGXA's political analyst, Philip Swicegood. And Philip, thank you so much for joining me today.
Of course.
Let's go ahead and get your thoughts on the overall indictment. Now, is there anything that really surprised you about this indictment last night?
Yeah, there were several things, but first, I would actually say that today may be the most significant day in the history of Georgia politics, because Fani Willis brought this RICO indictment against Donald Trump, and RICO stands for Racketeering, Influence, and Corrupt Organizations. And so it's kind of convoluted, so that was one surprise, but if you really want to understand what's going on here, Fani Willis, this district attorney in Fulton County, is claiming that Donald Trump is the head of a criminal enterprise whose goal it was to overturn the 2020 election. That's the headline. Like, if you just want to understand what's going on, that's the basic gist of what's going on here.
How do you think that this sets the precedent now going forward for former presidents or politicians in general that are facing maybe charges like these or similar allegations, knowing that not only is it Donald Trump, but it's also his team that had anything to do with what is being alleged?
Part of what's concerning about this is just what you said. It's the precedent that is set for future people that run for office. Essentially what this says is that if you decide to run for office, you can absolutely be prosecuted for the actions that you take.
Well, Philip Swicegood, thank you so much for coming in, and as always, we always appreciate your insight.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Amanda. And Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, who Trump called and asked him to find more than 11,000 votes, released this statement today. The most basic principles of a strong democracy are accountability and respect for the Constitution and rule of law. You either have it or you don't.
We went out to the community today to hear some of your thoughts on Trump's recent indictment and how this might affect your decision at the polls.
I just believe that no one is above the law. So if laws have been broken, then I would say that those who broke them need to face justice in the courtroom.
I agree with it.
And why?
Because if it was me, they'd be indicting me. Plain and simple. It doesn't matter who he is, it's what he done, or accused of doing anyway. That's the same way they treat me, so why should he be treated differently?
You've been voting in our interactive poll as we cover the aftermath of Trump's indictment in Georgia. We've been asking if you agree with him being indicted. 35% of you say yes, 65% of you say no. You can still vote by scanning the QR code on your screen or finding the poll on our website, WGXA.tv.